Hey, Rube, how you doing?
Doing well, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a short week here. Eagles placing the Bears on Friday. Black Friday game, kind of a weird game to get ready for, but I'm excited for this week.
Has it kind of messed up your shopping schedule? Because I know you usually like going to the Deptford Mall on the day after Thanksgiving.
I only ever did that once, like to get a good Black Friday sale. And I was young, so and this is how long ago it was. I was like a young kid, and I wanted to do something nice for my mom. And remember those like little portable TVs,
Oh
like a
yeah,
handheld portable TV?
yeah.
I went with my dad, and it was something where like he was probably like, we can just buy this and not stand in a line, but I wanted to be able to pay for it myself. So we went and stood at the Best Buy line for way too long to get one of those little portable TVs for my mom.
Well, I'm sure she appreciated it.
I think she did. She probably still has it somewhere in a, in
She
a
watched
drawer.
Birds Huddle every night on a miniature TV.
Not bad. This is Eagle Eye, by the way. We're presented by Nissan. He's Reuben Frank, and I'm Dave Zangaro. A lot to cram in this week. This is our Tuesday pod. On the post-game pod, I said there wouldn't be one Thursday. We figured it out. We're going to get you guys a Thursday pod. It'll be in your feed on Thanksgiving morning. So, if your uncle or aunt are starting to annoy you at dinner, you can sneak away and listen to a podcast. We want to make sure you guys have that.
What if we're starting to annoy them?
And then go talk to their families. And so it works both ways.
Either way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at this point, we're family anyway, right?
We are.
I think so. We'll take a plate. A lot to talk about
We're just going to stop by.
on this podcast. We've spoken to Nick Sirianni since the game on Monday afternoon. We got some injury news we want to get to. We want to talk about the secondary. We've spoken to Vic Fangio about what his secondary is going to look like. And then later in the pod, we have just a million questions to get to. Our inbox was full, as you'd expect, after a loss like that down in Dallas on Sunday. But Rube, let's start with the secondary. The big news since the game, Andrew Mukuba, the rookie safety who had been playing really well over the last month or so, has a fractured ankle, needs surgery. There's a chance his rookie season is over.
Yeah, it's a shame because he was playing. I think he got off to a little rocky start, gave us some big plays early, but over the last, I don't know, well, certainly since the bye week, probably even a little before, he's been playing really solid. Hasn't made the big plays, although he is the Eagles' interception leader with two. But he's been solid. He hasn't given up big plays. And for a young rookie to be playing over 90% of the snaps, that's rare. You had this when the season started, you had two rookies playing over 90% of the snaps on defense. Jihad's numbers are down, of course, with Nakobe back, but I've been impressed with Mukuba, and second round pick. He's been really solid. It's a shame because you have this opportunity to go to the playoffs as a rookie and be a starter, and now he's got a rehab. Hard to imagine him coming back this year after ankle surgery.
Yeah, it seems unlikely, but they're leaving that chance open, so you never know. Maybe a deep playoff run, he's able to get back on the field, but they're going to miss him. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's not a position they're super deep at. Sidney Brown be the next guy up. He started in the league. I think he started 6 games his rookie year, maybe one last year.
Remember, as a rookie, he was playing a lot of nickel.
He was playing a lot of nickel, but they don't have safeties. Michael Carter has safety in his back pocket. He just got here. He hasn't played it a lot, but he can play it. I actually asked him about that the other day. He said he's fine playing anywhere they put him. Andre Sam's on the practice squad. So it's not a position where they have a ton of depth, but they're going to need what they have.
Yeah, Marcus Epps, by the way, was placed on IR November.
He's got one more game he has to miss.
He was placed on IR November 1st. So he's missed 1, 2, 3. He has to miss at least one more.
Yeah.
And that's even if it's an injury where he's eligible to come back. The last time I saw Marcus Epps, he had a sling on, so it was I guess a shoulder injury.
They never told us what his injury was.
They never did. Shoulder or collarbone, something like that, because he was in a sling.
So it could be more than the minimum is 4 weeks. Could be, I guess it would be the Raiders game. What is it? Bears, Chargers, Raiders. It would be the Chargers game.
It was when he'd be eligible.
He'd be eligible. Yeah, but who knows? And yeah, he hadn't been playing any defense. He was a special.
Well, if
teamer.
you remember, though, he had actually moved ahead of Sidney Brown.
He had.
So something to keep in mind. I don't know when he'd be eligible to return, but
yeah.
But for right now, it looks like Reed Blankenship is going to be able to play on Thursday. On Friday. That's from Vic Fangio. So that's good. I mean, that's certainly good news. And I suspected that. We were watching Reed on the sideline on Sunday, and he was like fighting to get back in. It was a thigh injury, and he just couldn't, I guess, get it loose enough to get back on the field. But having him when there are other moving pieces in the secondary is such a big deal. He's been that like steadying force for the back end of the defense. Even when he's not making plays, I think he brings a sense of calm to the secondary, and they're probably going to need it in this game.
Yeah, and if he's hobbled, if he has to leave the game or if he can't play, you're looking at, you know, two new safeties at a position where they don't have a ton of depth, and it'd probably be. I mean, you could play Cooper there. It'd probably be Michael Carter and Sidney Brown be your safeties, and that's with we don't know what Dory Jackson's status. So the whole secondary is kind of, and these injuries seem to happen in bunches at the same position. It's kind of odd, but getting Reed back is huge because not only is he a playmaker, I mean, he's got 9 interceptions as an undrafted player. Yeah, he's such a leader. He's such a kind of the glue in the secondary. He kind of keeps it all together. Just a smart guy. He's always in the right place. So getting him back, and Vic seemed pretty confident he was going to play. So Vic's the only coach that would tell us if a player is going to play. We got to ask him about a guy in the offense. He'd probably tell us, but that was definitely good news.
Yeah, so here's what I think it's going to look like on Friday. You're going to have Quinyon Mitchell starting outside. I think you're going to have Cooper DeJean starting outside. You're going to have Michael Carter as the nickel. You're going to have Reed Blankenship as the safety. And you're going to have Sidney Brown as a safety.
Yeah, and the option is, I mean, it's basically, would you rather have Keeley on the field or Michael Carter the second on the field? And I think we saw the answer. And when Adoree left the game, then I mean, Keeley, everybody played. I mean, everybody who dressed out played, I think, in the secondary, other than Bennett. Bennett didn't play any defensive snaps, did he?
He did not.
So,
Which is a little curious because he was ahead of Keely Ringo before Bennett landed on IR earlier in the season. And then ever since he's been back, I mean, they slow played it to get him off IR. And then they haven't played him since he's been back. So Vic just must not see what he wants to in Jacorian Bennett because he hasn't gotten the opportunity.
but it's weird because at one point he did see that, and he hasn't. Maybe he just didn't practice well, but he hasn't played. Like, that's usually how you lose that job, by playing poorly. He hasn't played.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's just not 100%. But I mean, we're talking about a pec. It's been 2 months now. So yeah, it is kind of odd. I mean, quarterback's been just, all year it's been just one thing after another. It changes.
Yeah. And the Adoree injury is a shame because he had like very quietly solidified that CB2 position.
He had, yeah, he'd been pretty solid. And yeah, so we'll see. Cooper had a little bit of a tough game outside. Look, he was up against. He hasn't played a lot of it. I mean, how many snaps outside does he average? About 10 per game, maybe 8 or 10. But that was a tough ask. He's up against a great receiver, and I think, as Vic pointed out, like when he did get beat, he was kind of there. He just kind of got beat at the catch point by a great receiver. So I think he'll be fine as a full-time outside corner if that's, and it sounds like that's the way they'll go. Obviously the Bears have some weapons, but you just have so much faith in Cooper DeJean wherever he is.
Yeah, I didn't walk away from that thinking he played super poorly.
No.
It was more about, he had some good coverage and Pickens made some plays on him, and that's going to happen. So as long as his confidence didn't get shot by that, I don't think he's going to be as good outside as he is inside, and that's not a shot at him. He's just one of the best nickels in the league, and then you're asking him to play different positions, which is like we talked about that earlier in the season, and it was part of the reason why you didn't want to move him because he's probably not going to be the same player, and then he means so much to the defense inside. So it seems like that's the way they're leaning, and that's what they did in this game. What would you do though? Like if you're Vic Fangio, you're in charge of the defense, how would you deploy in the secondary?
I think I would do what he's doing, honestly. I thought Carter played pretty well for a guy who just got here. Just from watching the game, I watched most of the game over. I thought he was pretty solid Sunday. I thought the defense played well for the most part, against a really high-powered offense. I mean, they can score 40 on anybody, so hold them to 24. But yeah, that's probably how I would go. How about you?
Yeah, probably. And understanding we haven't seen a lot of Michael Carter, but he has been a viable option as the nickel in his career. The problem is like it's a short week. You have a walkthrough on Tuesday. You have one practice this week on Wednesday. So Vic really just needs to pick the combination and get those guys ready to play
Yeah.
with the understanding that, Carter's probably the next guy up at safety and then everything can get shuffled. You just have to be ready for that, which is a little scary because it was really in this game when they had those two injuries to Adoree Jackson and then Reed Blankenship on that same drive. It was the first time all year where the secondary and the defense just looked really confused. They were trying to figure it out on the fly, and it just wasn't. It was that long drive, and there was like real confusion on the field, and that happens when you're trying to piece it together and guys are playing out of position. Like it's going to happen like that. So if they pick whatever they're going to do and they're able to just rep it and get ready for it, I think they're going to be in good shape or at least okay shape. The problem comes in when you have to start moving guys around. It's just naturally a little chaotic.
Especially when there's guys who haven't been here very long, weren't here in camp or OTAs or first half of the season. So, um, yeah, I think communication is probably more important in the secondary than anywhere else on the field. And when you have
Sure.
that many,
Especially when they play as much zone as they do.
yeah, and when you have that many moving pieces, and one of them somebody who just got here, and now, that's the big concern that there's going to be a miscommunication and somebody's running free down the sideline.
Now, do you think the Cowboys were targeting Cooper DeJean because he's like a new outside corner, or do you think it was just, hey, we're going to throw at everyone who's not Quinyon Mitchell?
Well, I mean, that kind of amounted to the same thing, but I think they were specific. It seemed like they were specifically going after Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I understand that. He has played a little bit there, but he's not an outside corner. At least that's not what he's been. And it's new to him. And you have those studs out there. So yeah, I think it was intentional.
And it was also in a situation where the Cowboys were trailing, so they were going to throw the ball. Whereas a lot of the times, he's playing outside corner and base. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'd assume that when you're in base like that, you're seeing less downfield throws in general. So
Yeah.
I think it was just a recipe for him to get tested the way he did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's your confidence level that whatever version of the secondary shows up on Friday afternoon is able to hold up?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's fairly high. Um, I mean, if you have Reed, Quinyon, and Cooper, you have three really, really solid pieces that are solid. And then it's just kind of figuring out the other two. And I like what I saw from Carter. Sidney's an interesting guy because he does some good things. He's just the issue with Sidney is he'll like go 150 miles an hour in like a 55 zone.
That's a good way to put it.
And there's gonna be penalties. Like if you have Sidney out there playing 65 snaps, there's gonna be one personal foul, and like he's gonna give up a big play by just overrunning it because he's just going too fast. But I mean, I think it was a pretty close competition between him and Mukuba in camp. I think the difference was they just wanted to play their own guy, the rookie.
It was close, but Mukuba also missed a few weeks.
He did. But I thought Sidney had a good summer. I don't think Sidney had a bad summer. I don't think it's a deal where it's like, oh God, we have to play Sidney. He's not as good as Mukuba, but I think he's okay.
Okay.
So, and all of this is predicated on if you can get some pressure, and they don't give up a lot of sacks, the Bears. And this front hasn't gotten as many sacks as I think they should have, and I think they've pressured better than they've gotten sacks, I guess. But you got to pressure this quarterback, or he'll pick you apart.
Vic pushed back against the idea that the front didn't get enough pressure against the Cowboys, and I kind of disagree with him
Me
there.
too.
I didn't think it was good enough, and my favorite thing, and just about every defensive coach in the NFL does this,
Yep.
is when the team is getting sacks. Sacks are the most important thing in the world, and when they're not getting sacks, they go, "That's all you guys care about are sacks." And Vic is not alone. Like basically every defensive coach in the league
Jim Schwartz would always say that.
puts it that way, though. Like when you're getting sacks, it's great and they matter, but when you're not getting them, well, other things matter, guys. There's pressure, which is all true, but
And nobody uses like pressure I mean, we use pressure analytics all the time. So when and I love Vic, but he said today, like, oh, you guys think the only way to measure pressure is by sacks. That's so not
It's
true.
not true.
We measure it in so many ways. Jim Johnson was a guy, on the other hand, who would say it's not about pressure, it's about sacks. Like, you got to get them because, I mean, pressure isn't going to get a 11-yard loss or maybe force a fumble or, put you into 3rd and 22. So,
And that's an important distinction in this game coming up against a quarterback who is slippery. He can get away from you. There are second plays out there with Caleb Williams. So if you get him down on the first play, it matters quite a bit.
yeah, he's a dangerous guy. Looking forward to seeing him. And we'll
Uh,
see our old friend DeAndre Swift. We'll get into matchups next time, but Swifty's having a good year for them.
yeah, I mean, a few former Eagles on that team: DeAndre Swift,
Their whole secondary.
Kevin Byard, C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
They could use some of those D-backs.
I don't know if T.J. Edwards will be back for this game. Probably not.
Is he on IR?
He's not. He's been hurt though. But yeah, a bunch of former Eagles on that team.
Yeah. I think Olamide Zacchaeus is on that team.
He is, yeah. Early in the season, he was like a big part of their offense. It's kind of diminished since then, but yeah, he's getting some burn with them.
And they got that kid from Rutgers, right?
Manungai, yeah.
Is he a Rutgers kid? Is
Yeah,
he a Jersey kid?
He is.
Where did he go to high school? Like Don Bosco?
I believe it was Don Bosco.
Really? That was just a guess.
You're gonna look it up, so I don't know why
I
you
am.
even made me play that game.
Anyway, I won't look it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All right. I will. You can talk though.
Yeah, but I'm gonna start talking, and then you're just gonna interrupt me to say he went to Don Bosco.
God, now I got to look it up. Where is he? Here he is.
It's Don Bosco.
He started out at Seton Hall Prep, and he transferred to Don Bosco. So, you know where that is? Don Bosco?
In New Jersey.
It's in Ramsey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else from Vic that stood out to you on Tuesday?
No, I mean, most of the conversation was about the secondary, other than one question about pass pressure. Yeah. So, but it was good that he cleared some things up.
Yeah, there were a couple other things I wanted to bring up, though. He was asked about the too many men penalty when Brandon Graham was being subbed out for Nolan Smith. And Vic was honest about it. He said the offense made a substitution. The defense should have been given an opportunity to make a substitution. And he's right. The umpire began to run up to stop the snap and then just didn't stop the snap. BG couldn't get off the field and they got a too many men penalty. And that was the penalties in this game were not big just from the number of penalties, but they took away big plays, a lot on offense. But that was an interception from the Kobe Dean. Now it's possible Dak thought he had a free play.
It's possible,
yeah,
but it's not like BG, having those 12 men affected the defense. I mean, it's not like they had 12 guys lined up. And
no, I'm saying Dak, I think might have just been a little looser with the football, knowing that it wasn't going to count.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. But I thought that in the moment, it really looked like the umpire was going to run up and stop or hold up the snap. And I think the reason he didn't is because he didn't get there in time.
That's embarrassing. And Nick was furious over that. He was furious a few times.
Yeah. But you know what? Over the course of a game, all that stuff evens out and they weren't disciplined enough.
That's true.
I did ask Vic about Nakobe and why he's such a good blitzer. And he said a lot of it's just instincts and timing, but also his physicality. He's been such a good blitzer recently.
Yeah.
Not just recently. I mean, really since he came in the league, but they're utilizing it right now.
Do you know this is the first time ever? So last year, Zach Bond, by the way, what other former Eagle went to Don Bosco? I think there's only one. You'll never guess it, but it's Matt Hennessy. Anyway, I guess he's a former Eagle technically.
Now, did you say Matt Hennessy or Max Hennessy?
Matt Hennessy.
That's a throwback.
Yeah. Anyway, I couldn't even tell you what year he was here. It looks like it was last summer. That's right. I thought I was going to say it was 1988. Seems like it. I'm sorry. What did you say? I forgot what you said. I had a good answer to it though.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, you did. You were about to say something and said Matt Hennessy. All right. Anyway, the Kobe blitzing is. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was going to say that Bond and Nakobe both had 3 sacks last year, and they both have 3 sacks this year. It's the first time ever in Eagles history since sacks became an official stat in '82. They've had 2 guys with 3 sacks in back-to-back years.
I just want to rewind and I want to go over what just happened here. You were talking,
I know.
you interrupted
I
yourself,
know.
then said that I had asked you a question,
I know.
and I was just sitting here
I
waiting
know.
to find out where this was all
This is
going.
all true.
And then you interrupted yourself again. It was like double interruptions. They cancel each other out. Lost your train of
Offsetting
thought,
interruptions.
checked your phone, and then got back to what you were saying.
Yeah, that's all true.
Okay. That's all I had from Vic today, but always enjoyed talking to him.
Always.
On Monday afternoon, I somehow made it uh, home from Dallas.
How much were you delayed?
Not too bad. No, I've heard some other horror stories from people who were out there. I got delayed a couple hours, maybe not like an hour and a half. You know what the annoying thing about my delay was, Rube? That I knew it was going to be delayed. We had like an 8:30 flight, and there was like really bad rain in the area, and I wish I had the guts to just sleep in and bank on the delay, but you just can't do it. You
No.
got to be at the airport in time.
Because the one time you do that,
Yeah. So I didn't have the guts to do that, and then of course I get to the airport, sit down to have breakfast, and
speaking of that breakfast, can we tell that story?
yeah, go ahead.
So I'm sitting there. I get an email on yesterday morning at about, oh gosh, I think it was about 8:00, 8:30 our time. And the email was a receipt for breakfast at DFW airport. So at first I thought this is some scam. They want money. I don't know. They want my credit card. Your card didn't go through, give us your credit card. I'm looking at it and it's like, it looks real. It looks legit. It's from a bagel place at DFW airport. And I'm thinking, I know Dave's flight's at 8:30. So he'd be having breakfast right about that time. And it was a bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel or on an English muffin. I think it was a bagel and a coffee. It said hot coffee. So and it had the amount of the order on it. And I messaged you I either texted you or messaged you on Slack and said, did you have a bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich and a coffee at the airport this morning? And you're like, how do you know that?
At first I thought you had a spy
Yeah.
in the airport, and then it was like too specific, so I was like, I think they must have sent you the receipt, which is weird. I don't know how that happens.
Yeah. And like our company cards got transposed once in Cleveland because we had dinner and we took the wrong cards. Are identical. Well, they have our names on it because I got to my hotel that night and and they're like, welcome to the Marriott, Mr. Zangaro. I said, no, what are you talking about? But yeah, so that was funny. I don't know. I still don't know how on earth that happened.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Anyway,
All right, we've delayed this long enough. Let's talk about Kevin Patullo.
do we have to?
Yeah, I think people were like, no, go back to the bagel. Go back to the bagel.
Let's talk about breakfast.
On Monday afternoon, I just asked Nick straight up if he's contemplated making a switch. That play caller said he has not, gave a vote of confidence to Patullo. And look, for fairness sake, like, I don't think anyone expected him to make a switch on this week, a short week. That's
Sure.
not when you do it. But it's a very fair question because in 2 of Nick's first 4 seasons, he has made a significant switch like that. In 21, he made the switch from himself to Shane Steichen as the offensive play caller. And then in 23, he went from Sean Desai. In week 13, by the way, went from Sean Desai to Matt Patricia. So it's a fair question, but I believe him that he's not going to make this change right now.
Yeah, I did a little research this morning. So when he replaced himself as OC with Shane in 21, the Eagles were 17th in the league in offense. Not great, not terrible. When he replaced Sean with Matty P, 13 games into the season 2 years ago, the Eagles were ranked 22nd in defense. Right now, they're 24th. So this offense is worse than it was when he made those 2 changes. And his quote when you asked him that was, as coaches, we're always looking for answers and we're never into assigning blame. It's exactly what he did in 21 and 23. And one of the 2 times it helped, they got worse under Matt. I don't know if they could get worse if you had someone else doing it. I guess it's possible you could average 10 points a game, but yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Now, I think in 21, the important distinction to make is that he took it away from himself, but I think he saw the positives in freeing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just making a change for the sake of the play calling. I think he also thought it would help the team because it would free him up to do other things.
But if they were averaging 35 points a game, he wouldn't have done it.
No, I totally agree. But I don't think it was just like a 1-for-1 there, if
No,
that makes
that's a
sense.
fair point.
Yeah.
And when people ask about, I had a radio station ask me this morning, should Shane take over play calling? I'm like, no.
You mean Nick?
Nick, yeah. Well, Shane should.
Yeah, if they could get Shane to
He's
do
busy.
it. Yeah.
I don't think the Colts are going to fire him, but yeah.
FaceTime Shane from the Colts sideline and let him call both games.
I think I just don't think Nick was very good at it. And I like you said, I think he really likes being unencumbered of that responsibility. It frees him up to talk to other coaches on the sideline and guys on the defense. And
in theory, it frees him up to make better in-game decisions, which isn't always the case.
in theory.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I agree they don't have a Shane Steichen in the bullpen warming up. I still think he should make a change.
Oh no, that's baseball.
It was a figurative bullpen.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It was a metaphoric bullpen. It's my new band, the Metaphoric Bullpens.
It's not bad.
So I think he should do it. I think he should do. I don't even care who it is. You know.
I understand that. Like, I understand what you're saying. You probably should care who it is, but they have to like, you have no way to know who would be better or worse at it.
I just
you
don't
would hope
see how
they would have an understanding of that.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, they've all done it. Like with the guys I mentioned, I wrote a little column about it. I mean, Scott Loeffler has done it in college. Parks Frazier's done it, as you pointed out, in the NFL. And I mean, Jason Michael did it at a high level in college. I would take Singleton. I would take any of them. I think you need a fresh look at this offense, and just don't think they're getting that right now. There's too much talent to be doing what they're doing.
Now,
and it's gotten worse. That's the thing. It's like, if you saw any signs of improvement or growth, which I thought we did before the bye, I wouldn't feel this way, but it's gone the other way.
Yeah, I think the signs of growth, the signs that you'd be encouraged by, have been more fluky than the negative. Right? The negative trend has gone on for a lot of the season, whereas like the Vikings game and the Giants game, the second Giants game, they kind of feel like more one-offs, honestly.
I mean, the Vikings game, they scored 21 points on offense. Right. I think was that the Jalix touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like that's some great triumph, So the last 6 games, they've scored more than 21 once, and it was against a team that fired its coach 2 weeks later. So, and then fired their D coordinator 2 weeks after that. So it's not good. And I don't see how anybody can watch this and think it's going to change.
Let me ask you another question, and I'm kind of just playing devil's advocate, throwing something at you. It's not something that I've thought about a ton. What do you think the reaction would be in the locker room if you make this switch? Do you think it lights a fire? Do you think, if you're a player, do you think, oh, we're really in trouble if, like, in a negative way, like if we make this switch, like anything we had built up is completely gone? Like, how do you think it would be received in the locker room if they made a switch like that?
It's a good question. I certainly don't think anybody would be crushed or devastated. Now, I haven't talked to every offensive player about the play caller.
And I think it's also important to remember these are professionals. Everyone likes Kevin Patullo. It's not like he's a nice guy.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, like I think people like him, and I think he has brought something to this team in the 4 years he's been here before this year. It's just he's in a different role right now. And it was, if you think back to after the Super Bowl, talking to Jalen Hurts at his locker back in the NovaCare complex, he was asked about, but at that point we kind of like had a really good understanding that Patullo was going to be the guy.
Yeah.
And even Jalen was like, he's done good things here, but being an offensive coordinator is completely different.
Yeah.
A little foreshadowing from Jalen Hurts.
A little bit.
All those months ago.
Yeah. I don't think I've heard anybody in a locker room say Kevin's doing a great job. When people are specifically asked about him, they'll say nice things. Obviously, you're not going to
Yeah.
rip the guy, but
And
I think Jalen and
yeah.
AJ have both kind of vaguely hinted at, you know, the play calling could be better, and it's a part of the problem.
Yeah. And the one thing that I do appreciate a guy like Jordan Mailata will do, he'll put it on the team like, hey, we're making too many mistakes, which is true. You want to see that accountability, but uh, yeah, I don't think the play callers put them in particularly good spots all year.
Yeah, I certainly don't think there'd be a mutiny.
No.
Um, I think a lot of it will depend on, who replaces him. But again, that's something like we don't. I mean, how do you know if a guy's going to be a good play caller or not? I don't know. I don't
Yeah, it's just
like
a
Kevin
sense.
Patullo knows football. Like I mean, when we talk to him, he's like just has great ideas and everything sounds good and it makes sense. You know, he just doesn't have that flair for it that other guys
Yeah.
do.
And I remember talking to Shane Steichen about this. I met up with Shane in Indianapolis at the combine, and he really was convinced that Kevin was going to be good at this. And that's coming from a guy who is really good at it. And we saw that here. We've seen it in Indy. And I think sometimes you just don't really know. And
Yeah.
it's a tricky thing. And it's especially tricky for the Eagles because they don't have a head coach who's good at it. So you're constantly finding like it's a struggle. It's because you're constantly trying to find that guy, because if they're good at it, they leave to become a head coach. If they're bad at it, they, in Brian Johnson's case, get fired, and in Kevin Patullo's case, not looking great.
Dougie P's available.
Hey, that's been floated. I don't think that would happen.
I don't either.
Like some kind of a consultant.
I think he was good at it
Yeah.
for most of the time he was here.
Yeah.
He was great at it in 17. He was incredible.
Before we take a break, you had some cool Tank Bigsby stats that I know
I
you
do.
wanted to share with us.
Yeah, well, and again, I think I said this the other night after the loss. Like, I don't think Tank Bigsby's the answer to all their issues, but I do think playing him more it would make a difference. And I just think I think of that third and two. After the 2-minute warning, it was tie game. They're on their own 37, and last year they run the ball 100% of the time in that situation. Um, Jalen dropped back. He ran around. He was under pressure. He got sacked for an 11-yard loss. They punted, and 5 plays later, Cowboys were in field goal range. I'm not guaranteeing Tank Bigsby would have converted there, but so he's got 18 carries this year, all in the last 5 games. In that 5-game span, he has more runs of 10 yards or more than Saquon in 1/5 as many carries, exactly 18 versus 90. Saquon this year has 29 negative runs. Tank has 1 for the entire season. So this even includes the period that Tank was here after he came over from Jacksonville but wasn't playing. Saquon has 5 17-yard runs or more. Tank has 4. They both have 100-yard game. Saquon's averaging a 5-yard. He's averaging a 10-yard run every 18 attempts. Tank Bigsby's averaging one every 2 attempts. I don't know. I'm not saying give him 10 carries and bench Saquon. I just don't think 1 carry is enough. I don't think 4 carries last week is enough. I think 6 to 8 carries and see how that goes. And that the crazy thing to me is every time Saquon gets bottled up for a -1 or a +2, oh, it's the offensive line. But as soon as Tank gets out there, the offensive line looks better, which tells me, and again, it is a small sample size, but the numbers are outrageous. He's averaging over 9 yards a carry. And this is not a guy who, I mean, last year he ran for almost 800 yards and had a 4.67 touchdown. So he's like a legit NFL back. He's not just some guy who got hot for a couple weeks. I don't see how. And Nick's answer when I think Mike Sealski asked about him. He said, I'll see if I can find it. We always want to get Saquon the ball as much as we possibly can because we know what type of playmaker he is. But he's not. For whatever reason, right now, he just isn't. And Tank Bigsby is. And I think you owe it to the team, to the offense, to close that gap a little where, I mean, where Saquon has 90 carries over a bad 5-game offensive stretch, and Bigsby has 18, and a lot of those were in garbage time against the Giants. Um, so I don't know. I just don't think it'd hurt to try it.
Yeah, I agree. I think a few more for Tank makes sense. And if it's the product of the defense playing differently against him, yeah, use that.
Yeah,
It's like it doesn't mean that you think Tank Bigsby is better than Saquon Barkley. I don't
exactly.
think anyone agrees with that, right? But uh,
Right now, he's more effective than him. Is he better? No, but he's more effective for whatever reasons.
yeah, and
And
I don't think Saquon's the type of player that if you
this is, yeah, finish the thought because this is, I think, part of the equation.
yeah
I know what you're going to say before you say it. I'm sorry.
yeah, I know. I don't think Saquon's the type of player who would be in his feelings about getting some carries taken away from him if it's for the betterment of the team. Now you're going to need Saquon for the long haul. Like he's your best option long term,
Yeah.
no doubt about it. Like if this team is going to go to where they want to go, you need Saquon being that guy. But in the interim, you're trying to win games, and if Tank gives you a little bit better shot, uh, just with a few more carries, I think you have to do it. I agree with
Or
you.
in a specific situation like that 3rd and 2, where there's no way they throw it if they have, there's no way they throw it if they have confidence in Saquon in that situation,
Or in the run game.
or in the run game period. Um, I wonder if the contract, like he's got a big contract. I don't know if they're making decisions because of that. I mean, he's Saquon. He was an all-pro, 2,000 yards. Uh, I agree with you about him not getting his feelings hurt. I mean, he legitimately just wants to win. But, then there's like, what if Tank Bigsby, like, all of a sudden, has really big games and Saquon continues struggling? Where do you go with it? Like, it could create some issues. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, but
You
you
got
can't
to,
worry about that
you can't
in the
worry about
moment.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. You got to go with the hot hand,
yeah.
and
All
they're
right,
not.
let's take a break. When we come back, we our inbox was on fire as you'd expect after a loss like that. So we'll get into a bunch of questions from all you guys.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today.
Need some holiday gift inspiration? Escape the cold and catch the Phillies in Clearwater with NBC Sports Philadelphia and Philly Sports Trips. We're teaming up to bring fans the most unforgettable Phillies spring training experience yet. This trip includes Phillies game tickets, beachfront accommodations, round trip travel, all inclusive tailgates, and more. Plus appearances from Larry Boa, Charlie Manuel, and NBC Sports Philadelphia's own Ben Davis. Book your trip today at phillysportstrips.com. We're back on the Eagle Eye Podcast, brought to you by Nissan, Reuben Frank, and Dave Zangaro. Rube, let's get to the questions. We had a lot of
I
them.
can't wait to hear these.
Yeah, there were plenty of them. Some we probably can't read, but eagleeyednbcuni.com QR code is on the screen. First, let's go with Matt from Kentucky. Dave and Rube, love the pod. Keeps me tied to my Philly home. I have what I
Thanks, Matt.
expect will be an extremely controversial comment. To me, the Birds seem to lack desire. I see receivers giving up on routes, many unforced penalties, and in the Dallas game, missed tackles. This is a head coaching issue. With the offensive woes and a Dallas debacle, when does Nick come under the microscope?
Yeah, I don't think you get to 8-3 and a 21-point lead on the road against a division rival if the effort's not there, if the desire's not there. I haven't seen that. Now you can pick certain plays and question somebody's effort on specific plays, but as a team, you don't have this kind of success. And look, they still have the second best, or tied for the second best record in football, if you don't have desire. So I don't. There are certainly issues there, but I don't think that's one of them.
How about Nick from a more general sense? Because we've talked about this. I think he skates in terms of public perception and blame about the offense way too much. Like Patullo is, we talk about Patullo because he's the button you can push, right? He's the potential change. The underlying issue is kind of still the same. Like this offense, and like when we're talking about the route combinations and the structure of the offense, that's all still Nick. And now that you don't have a strong play caller to go with it, I think you're seeing some of those same pitfalls, things that we've talked about before Patullo got in this chair.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I mean, when the same issues keep bubbling up under different OCs, yeah, you look at the root cause.
What do you think Jeffrey Lurie's been thinking watching this?
He's probably thinking,
Like, Nick obviously bought himself time and benefit of the doubt. He won a freaking Super Bowl, but Jeffrey can't be happy with the offensive football we've seen this year.
no, but he's down in Florida on his boat fishing. And,
He's been up here.
yeah. Yeah, he can't be happy. But I mean, look, he's certainly not going to fire Nick. I think Nick has at least, I mean, it would take a complete collapse this year and next year, and then you start thinking about it. But I mean, he's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. He's 8-3, so
Beyond like that move, what about like the front office ownership kind of forcing upon him another offensive mind?
well,
Which can be a tricky thing now that
yeah,
the head coach has won a Super Bowl. He is now a Super Bowl winning head coach. With that comes some, we're getting into like offseason discussions,
yeah.
but there's some gravitas that comes with that. And that's kind of when you think back to Doug Peterson and the end of his time here, I think that was kind of at the crux of the issue, right? Was that he felt like he had earned more say so. Ownership did not think that. And that's what eventually led to the split.
Press Taylor.
They pressed the issue.
I don't think, I think Nick kind of goes along with ownership more than Doug ever would. I think
He has.
he has so far.
Mhm.
Now that might change.
I think it's human nature for that to change after you win a Super Bowl.
But you're thinking of like an offensive consultant or
A new
what?
OC. Bring in a Kellen Moore type. Bring in somebody who's done it at this level because we do not trust you and your offense to do it anymore.
I certainly don't think he would resign. I think he'd go along with it. I mean, I would assume he'd have some say in who it is. He might have. I think it would be a upstairs selection. I think that's likely. It might be Nick. Who do you have in mind? And no, that's not good enough. Not Press Taylor. Not Zach.
That'd be
Taylor.
fun if Nick was like, you know what? I've heard about this Press Taylor guy. I want to bring him in.
Carson Walsh, probably not. But I just don't see Nick as being one who would cause trouble. You know, Doug had a certain personality. And look, you're right. Maybe winning a Super Bowl changes that dynamic. I don't know. I do think Nick's favorite part of the job is just being in charge. So, setting the culture. And that's something he's really good at, making the speeches, post-game locker room, giving out the game balls. But I think he would, if it was the right guy, I think he'd go along with it. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Matty P might be available.
He is not. He's doing well.
Who do you like in that Ohio State-Michigan game?
I don't know, actually. You got a pick?
I'm going Buckeyes.
Okay, you're a Buckeye.
I haven't beaten them in a while.
All right. Next is from Alex. Hey, Dave and Rube. Here we are again. Great start, then the offense goes into hibernation. I believe continuing to allow Kevin Patullo to call plays is an insult to the players, fellow coaches, and fans. It's embarrassing, and we're wasting talent. Do you agree it's time to make a change?
No. Oh, yes.
You obviously know our answer to that. I thought that was a well-worded email that expressed a lot of the frustration and sentiment I saw in the inbox, so that's why we read that one. Next one is from Nunzio. I live in the UK. I'm a huge fan and devoted listener of your podcast for about 3 years now.
Thank you.
Thank you both for your great content and keeping us updated with all things Eagles. Long may it continue. My question is two-part. Number one, do you think the offensive struggles are because of an overcautious approach by Nick and Kevin Patullo, or just purely bad play design and scheme, or in fact all of the above?
I do think at times they haven't been aggressive enough with leads.
Heck, we saw it on Sunday in the end of the first half.
Yeah, we
Sat on the ball.
saw it in the Broncos game. I think the biggest issue, and I do think that play design and play calling are the main culprits. I do think you can win with mediocre play design and excellent play calling more than you can win with the other way around. And so I think with this talent they have, look, they won a Super Bowl with this offense last year, and they finally got going late in the year. I mean, they had issues on offense early in the year last year. Well, not early in the year anymore. But I think those last two are definitely issues. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they had issues pretty late in the season last year. Later than this, I mean,
Yeah.
I always go back to that A.J. Brown passing offense comment was in December. The difference is last year they were to run the football.
Yeah. And the other difference is like last year's bad was way better than this year's bad.
The second part of Nunzio's question, whatever the case, do you think if we make the playoffs, they will be able to unleash the offense and give more freedom to the playmakers?
How many questions is Nunzio going to get?
It was a two-parter.
Okay.
We asked the first part, and this is the second part.
I guess they're related, so it's a two-part question.
Yeah.
I
I had to ask them separately because if I ask you both, there's no chance you answer both.
there's no chance I'd remember the first part. I
Exactly.
don't do well with two-part questions. I struggle with one-part questions, but
One of my pet peeves, sometimes reporters will do this,
yeah,
is they'll say I have a two-part question, and then they'll ask two different questions.
yeah,
Like, that's not a two-part question. You just wanted to ask two questions,
yeah.
which is okay, but it's not a two-parter.
No, it's a little trick some guys do.
Mhm.
I don't have a ton of confidence in the unleashing part. I mean, they're going to be playing some good teams.
I mean,
In
they're
the-
trying. It's not
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
not like they're slow playing this.
yeah. I don't. I think if they're going to win, if they keep the same coaching structure, play caller, it's going to have to be with the defense, and they're going to have to win games 20 if they can get there to 17.
I want to go back to part one for a second of this question.
I don't remember part one.
I'm going to explain it. Just because we didn't really talk about it on the post-game pod, the end of half sequence. I thought that was crazy, and it's not like super egregious, but that's one example of them not being aggressive with a lead. And like those points would have mattered. And I didn't like his explanation either. For part of his explanation was that he would have given the Cowboys potentially given the Cowboys back the ball with too much time and a good kicker. What? You're worried about doing like them doing to you what you should be doing to them.
Yeah, exactly.
It was very strange to me.
Yeah,
And it's not the first example of them just like being willing to not try to get points in a situation. I don't get it.
we're
It's
not
like
going to.
their offense had been okay at that point. It wasn't like
Sure.
you needed the turtle and figure things out going into the next half. You have a chance to sneak away and get a field goal and then get the ball back after half. You have a chance to just bury a team.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. And it's like, we're not going to run our offense because Brandon Aubrey. I mean, that's basically how it struck me. You can't play football scared.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me. Next one from Matt. Enough is enough with Kevin Patullo. When are they going to cut ties with him? Sorry, but he is dragging the offense down with the same plays over and over. P.S. First time emailing. Have been listening to you guys since 2019.
Wow.
Also love Rube's random tangents and would love to hear a top 10 punk rock bands list. You guys rock.
Okay, well, I'll come up with that.
Okay.
Pretty soon it's going to be time for me to run down my top 100 albums of the year.
Yeah, we'll do that right after we stop recording. Next one is...
No, I'm serious. What if I just do top 90? Top 10?
Top 10 we can do.
All right.
Yeah. And then maybe a top 10, and then maybe you can, I don't know, put your other 90 somewhere else. Next one is T from Texas.
T from Texas?
Mhm.
T is for Texas.
I know you all have said multiple times you don't think this season will be another 2023-like season when the bottom completely falls out. My question is, what gives you that confidence, and do you still feel that way? I get that the defense is much better than 23 and the roster is better overall. However, we're 11 games in now and the offense is still completely rudderless. We have a worse record than we did at this point in 23. And while I do believe that Vic Fangio and the defense can win some games for us, I would not be at all surprised if we similarly limp into the playoffs and have an early exit this year. Looking for a whole pie of positivity this week. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, it's a fair question, and I don't think that's going to happen. And his reasoning is my reasoning. I don't think the defense. I mean, that defense was in shambles, and then Coach Matty comes in and they just couldn't stop anybody. You can't win games like that. I think you can beat a lot of teams with a elite defense and a below average offense.
If they could get that offense to average, it would mean a lot.
It's not average. Yeah, it's not average. But I can't say. I mean, there are similarities. There really are. I mean, they're winning a lot of close games. They're winning a lot of games where we come on and do the podcast and we're like, wow, that was too close for I mean, Giants game is the only game that they've won convincingly, right? That's the only one. It was the same way.
We've seen some of those cracks under the surface this year. I think they've handled it better. That 23 team, it felt like they were just pressing so much all year. They were miserable. And there's been some misery this year. Don't get me wrong. There's been plenty of drama with this team, but I think they've handled it better. And when you look at like the weak unit in 23 was the defense, the weak unit this year is the offense. I still have more confidence in this offense than I did in that defense.
They have good players, and that defense didn't. That's a big distinction.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, that team won one of its last 6 games, including the Tampa playoff game.
I mean, they lost 5 of 6 in the regular season and lost the playoff game.
This team's won 4 of its last 5 games. So we can't lose sight of that. They are 8-3, and that team was winning games, but I don't think it's going to happen. I feel like that was a once in a generation collapse. But I'll tell you what, if they lose to the Raiders, it's on.
If they lose to the Raiders, yeah, sure.
If we get there, but I think the schedule favors them. I felt that way in 23 as well. You have the Giants, you have the Arizona. That Giants, what was the low point that year? Was it the Arizona game or that Giants game in the last day of the season?
It was Cardinals.
That was when they were up like 21.
Yeah, you let Jonathan Gannon come in the building and beat you.
Unbelievable. That was a low point.
Yep. Next one from Justin. Hi, Dave and Rube. Convinced me that the Eagles wouldn't have been better off firing Sirianni after the 2023 season and hiring Kellen Moore as head coach. I think there's a reasonable chance they would have had similar success in 2024, and we wouldn't have to worry about who calls the plays every year until the end of time. I think Sirianni... Oh, this is actually from Max. I'm sorry. I think Sirianni is a fine coach, but being an offensive coach who doesn't call plays is a recipe for too much change from year to year to sustain success.
So fire him the year before he won a Super Bowl?
Yeah. Obviously, this is an emotional email after a loss. Yeah, like that's silly to say, but I understand like the general point. Like
they're 22, they're 26-5 since the end of the 23 season.
Yeah, and like there's no guarantee they win the Super Bowl with a different head coach. So they won a ring.
How are the Saints doing?
Yeah, they well,
I know it's
little apples to
a little bit.
Anvils,
watermelons.
Yeah,
apples
not
to
even
anvils.
Fruit. Yeah, very different. But yeah, it's. But I understand the premise is like you're gonna keep having this revolving door, and sometimes you're gonna end up with a coordinator who's ill-equipped. Like we've seen that now enough to know that's going to be the case. So I understand the point, but yeah,
it's really interesting to me, like how difficult it is to identify a good play caller in advance, somebody who hasn't done it on this level. Because I thought Patullo would be okay. I thought he'd be pretty good at it, just based on what I'd seen, what I knew. You just don't know.
From Justin, good evening, gentlemen. Love the show, but not the birds for right now. Where do I apply for the play caller position? I'm fairly positive I can do a much better job.
You should. What's his name?
Justin.
Justin, send a resume. Nick Sirianni, NovaCare Complex, Patterson Avenue, Philadelphia.
Was it 1 NovaCare Way?
1 NovaCare Way. I don't know the zip code offhand. 19 something or other.
19148, I think.
Well, that's us. Would it be the same across the street?
I can almost throw a baseball there, I think.
Yeah,
so.
But the border for the zip code's got to be somewhere, and Broad Street would seem to be.
It does have to be somewhere. You're right.
But anyway, send your resume in. You never know.
I think you know.
You never know. People have gotten jobs in stranger ways.
Okay. Next one is from KT. Question. Do you think Saquon is dancing too much? I feel like he tries too many moves to find the gap instead of trying to run downhill and bully people like he can. Last year, he would have made his juke only when he got to the second level, and it happens almost instantly when he gets the ball. I think that's why it feels so different when Bigsby comes in and can get good yards. Thoughts?
I think he starts dancing when there's nowhere to run.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen a ton of it too early.
Yeah. You watching back, there's a few plays where, like,
Yeah.
I think there's a hole that he doesn't hit as hard as you'd like. But I think, and that's why I asked him if he was pressing after the game, because I think there are some moments where he's just trying to make something out of nothing.
Yeah. I didn't see this coming. I think the most mystifying thing to me is, and I don't believe it's just Mekhi Becton not being here and O-line injuries. I just don't. I think that's part of it. I think play calling is part of it. With each passing week, I think more and more like he's just physically not quite the same.
I'm not there.
You're not there.
Yeah, I really think it's more the O-line than him.
482 touches last year. I don't think he's injured. He just doesn't look the same to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's
It's hard to look the same when you don't have a hole.
Yeah, and Will Shipley comes and gets 20 yards in his sleep.
He does?
He had a 20-yard run earlier this year. Do you know Will Shipley and Tank Bigsby combined have as many 10-yard runs as Saquon, 10 yards or more.
Yeah.
So I
get it, but like you watch it, and I just don't see the holes for Saquon.
I just don't see the same player. And I think even like a 5% or 8% difference physically makes all the difference in the world. But I'm sure the O-line is part of it too.
So if we're looking at a pie chart and you have three,
I knew this was coming.
3 slices.
This is bad. I know what you're going to ask me before you even ask it.
One is Saquon. And pie, you can call it an apple pie. What do you want? Pumpkin pie?
Let's make it a pecan pie.
Oh, pecan pie. Okay.
Do you know, one time I was at my aunt's house in Cleveland, actually in South Euclid.
I didn't know that.
And we had dinner there. I think it was Thanksgiving dinner, and she said she was making pecan pie. Well, after dinner, I have a slice of it. It's like, this doesn't taste right. And she's like, oh, I used walnuts. I use walnuts because they're cheaper than pecans.
You say pecan? Pecan?
Pecan. And I said, well, it's not pecan pie. Well, it's like, it's my pecan pie recipe. I just use walnuts. It's not pecan pie. It just bothered me. Sorry, Aunt Marcia in South Euclid, if you're watching.
Okay. So you have a walnut pie in front of you. One slice is Saquon.
Yeah.
One is coaching. One is offensive line. What do the slices look like?
I'd say about 60% each.
It's a big pie. The pie's overflowing.
It's a 180% pie. What do you use to determine the percentages? Pi r squared or 2 pi r? Okay. Enough math jokes. It's a good question. I would say, and I do believe all 3 are significant. I think it might be 33, 33, 33 or somewhere close to that. I think they're all issues.
Wow.
I think they're all within a few percentage points. So if I had to go higher on one, I'd probably go O-line, like maybe 35, and then, split the other 65% between coaching and Saquon. But I think they're all factors.
Okay. I would go 60% O-line.
And you know what? I would go play calling a little lower.
Then Saquon?
Yeah. I'm going to go play calling like 28 and then 36, 36.
You're making the math too hard.
I'm going to go 36, 28, 36.
Okay. I'm going to go Saquon offensive line 60%. I think that's, to me, it's still the by far the biggest reason.
Okay.
I think coaching has not helped. So I'll go 25% coaching.
There's only 15%.
Then 15% Saquon.
Okay.
I really don't think it's him.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fair.
It's fun to disagree.
I don't like it.
That's all we have time for today. If you have a question for us, eagle@nbcuni.com, QR code on the screen. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, you know what to do. Please rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click the like button, subscribe there as well. As a reminder, you're rating the podcast, not the Philadelphia Eagles, after a loss to the Dallas Cowboys.
Might be worse.
Maybe. We appreciate the love there. Rube, any final thoughts?
No, looking forward to doing a pod for Thanksgiving, and we'll see you guys soon.
Sounds good. For Reuben Frank, I'm Dave Zangaro. This has been Eagle Eye, presented by Nissan. We'll talk to you soon.